CBS Sports senior insider Jonathan Jones, and Jonathan's at Ravens camp. JJ, Lamar Jackson has set a deadline for week 1 to get a long-term deal done. Where are the two sides currently in contract negotiations?
Well, it's a fair question, Jim, and I wish that I could give you the deep inside information here, but I can tell you this. Lamar Jackson is a guy who obviously does not have an agent. His mother, Felicia Jones, has been operating as his representation for some time now, in consultation, of course, with the NFL Players Association. They don't talk to the media. So you're not getting any leaks out of Lamar Jackson's side. Well, the Baltimore Ravens, they've won a couple Lombardis over the years. This is a very smart organization. They know that if one side isn't talking to the media and revealing any details about a contract negotiation, that it's going to be pretty easy to tell where the leaks are going to be coming from. They would be coming out of this here facility. And so the Baltimore Ravens are very tight-lipped about this. But we can say, based off of things that I've heard and also our friend common sense, that negotiations continue to be ongoing. Lamar Jackson has, with a smile on his face, said that negotiations are ongoing. He has seemed to express optimism that a deal will ultimately get done before his week 1 deadline. But at issue, like many contracts, and certainly top of the market deals like what Lamar Jackson is surely looking for, is guaranteed money. It's average annual value. We don't know necessarily what the sticking point is or what a few sticking points may be for Lamar Jackson, but the Cleveland Browns did the Baltimore Ravens no favors with their fully guaranteed 5-year, nearly $250 million contract to Deshaun Watson. That then, of course, becomes the high bar, the high standard. And so I believe that the Baltimore Ravens could probably put together a deal that supersedes Kyler Murray's deal with the sort of regular average and contract guarantees. But if Lamar Jackson is looking for that Deshaun Watson-like deal, I don't know that the Ravens are willing to give it to him. I don't know that any of the other 30 teams out there would be willing to do that with their quarterback.
You know, as a follow-up to that, JJ, I'm curious about, this is a unique situation with he and his mother negotiating the contract. That being said, might that make it a little tougher for the Ravens with regards to potential of frayed feelings along the way in these talks?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that's a very smart thing to point out, where a lot of times when you have representation, that agent can be the buffer. That person can be the bad guy, so to say, and that when the agent is in the meeting with the general manager and with the salary cap guy, that, you know, you can speak a little bit more frankly, if you will. Meanwhile, you know, if you're the Baltimore Ravens, obviously you are expressing so much faith and confidence in Lamar Jackson. You're the greatest quarterback we've ever had, et cetera, but we're not going to give you what you want because of here are the issues that there are. And so, yeah, of course, without having that buffer, it certainly does make things much more difficult, as well as just frankly not having the background that many agents do. Now, I will say this, it is very much well within Lamar Jackson's rights to go about things this way, and I've been following Lamar ever since really his pro day at Louisville as a reporter. And what I've come to find out and have written about over the years is Lamar Jackson and his mom are going to do things their way. That people have told them before, I don't know if I'd do it that way. And then the way that they wound up getting Lamar Jackson a full ride to Louisville, and then wound up getting him the Heisman Trophy, and then wound up getting him drafted in the first round of the draft, and then starting in his first year, and then becoming the unanimous NFL MVP. And so if you're on Lamar Jackson's side and you say, hey, we're going to keep doing things our way, you can say it pretty legitimately because things have worked out so far.
Hey, I had a chance, JJ, to speak with Jackson on Wednesday. What were your takeaways?
Well, I mean, this is a guy who, you know, doesn't want to talk about his contract, and so we didn't discuss that as we have been talking about here, the two of us. We certainly will talk about that, but he's a guy who's focused. He's bulked up a little bit. It seems like every single year he's getting a little bit more muscular. You know, I saw him out here at practice, and he's working on the deep ball. He's working on trying to keep his left side calm. And what that means is what he wants to do is when he's throwing the football, he wants this left side to really just be stationary and stay calm throughout. And so he's working on those things. And his quarterback's coach, James Urban, here has called it, hey, we're trying to figure out the squeaky wheels and get those greased up just a little bit. And so the deep ball has kind of come and gone for Lamar over his season. It certainly was there when he won NFL MVP. And so they're trying to get that back with this group of receivers that while many around the nation, they may not be household names when you're talking about Rashad Bateman or you're talking about Prochet or Devin Duvernay, even though he was an all-pro, he did it in special teams rather than wide receiver. I can tell you that there's a whole lot of confidence in these guys within this building that, hey, now it's time for them to step up, and they believe that they're ready to step up.
You know, JJ, last preseason was rough on the running backs, and I'm talking about J.K. Dobbins and talking about Gus Edwards, torn ACLs, an Achilles injury for Justice Hill. Let's focus on Dobbins. Where is he right now with regards to playing Week 1?
Yeah, so we're still not entirely sure whether J.K. Dobbins is going to be able to play Week 1, but he got back out to practice over the weekend and got 2 days of acclimation where he's starting to ramp up, and then was out at practice here the past couple of days. So the Ravens like that he got out there maybe a little bit sooner than some were expecting here in this preseason, and obviously you have to see how he responds to the work that he's getting out here before you make any sort of declarations. But I'll tell you this, John Harbaugh, the coach here, got with the sports science group in the offseason, and what they really looked at as they headed into training camp is making sure that, hey, let's get rid of these early morning practices, that maybe the human body, as great as these athletes are, the 1% of the 1%, maybe you shouldn't really go out there, roll out of bed, stretch a little bit, and go play football at 8:15 a.m. And so they had a practice today that started at 1:35. It wrapped around 3:45 out here Baltimore time, or Owings Mills time, if you will. And it's really helped them a lot, just sort of, hey, it's all about acclimation. It's all about sports science and making sure that these guys are ready to go out here and practice football. Yeah, they don't necessarily mind the heat. In fact, they find that the heat is good for them going into the season, and it's far more about making sure that they don't have the sort of position catastrophe in terms of injuries that they had last preseason.
Yeah, and when you talk about injuries, they had it on the defensive side of the ball as well a season ago. Uncharacteristic offseason for that defense last year. Gone is former defensive coordinator Wink Martindale. In is new DC, that's Mike McDonald. What's your outlook for them on the defensive side of the ball this season?
You know, we were talking with Calais Campbell earlier today. He's a tall guy. He was standing right here, far taller than I. And he was telling us about, hey, yeah, Wink, obviously he would blitz, and he would go zero blitz a lot. It kind of didn't matter what the down and distance was. Wink Martindale was going to blitz. Well, Calais said, hey, I'm not going to give away the secret sauce necessarily of what we're going to do this season, but he likes that Mike McDonald is going to mix it up, that they're going to be able to get pressure with their front four and not always have to maybe zero blitz on 2nd and 4 necessarily. You look at this pass defense, and of course they struggled last season in large part because of so many injuries. You look at the back half, or excuse me, the secondary, and yeah, Marcus Peters is coming back. Marlon Humphrey was out here looking good. Marcus Williams, the safety, made 2 interceptions out here earlier today. He was their big free agent safety pickup earlier. Now, they might be a little bit weak at linebacker once you get past Patrick Queen a little bit, but I'll tell you this, in talking with folks here, the Baltimore Ravens this week are going to be hopping on a plane soon and heading out to Arizona, where they're not going to have joint practices with the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to practice out there, and then they're going to play the Cardinals over the weekend. But one of the very important things that Harbaugh wants to accomplish out here, yes, obviously get good work out in Arizona and prepare for that preseason game. He wants team bonding. He wants these guys to get to know one another just a little bit better. This is something that the Ravens have been doing for years, and they're very, very excited about the team dinners and hanging out at the team hotel together and really just kind of coalescing as a group. And that's something that this defense that was ravaged by injuries last season could obviously very much need. That's
Jonathan Jones with the latest from Ravens camp. Jonathan, we appreciate the insight. Ravens this coming season, this is what it looks like from the Vegas outlook. They're a plus 2,200 to win the Super Bowl, plus 1,100 to win the conference, favorite at a plus 155 to win the AFC North. And the win total set at 9.5. Their odds to make the playoffs are yes at a minus 160 and no at a plus 140.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.